Futera presents Soccer Cards and Chill.
Hello and welcome back to Soccer Cards and Chill. I am Adam Partington. That there is Mark Watson. In a minute, he's going to do his thing that he usually does. Let me just tell you quickly about this podcast for those of you that are listening for the first time. Soccer Cards and Chill is a podcast put out by Futera. We are a manufacturer of sports cards and trading cards. We have done this for 30 years. And this podcast is dedicated to the beautiful game and also to the hobby of soccer cards and soccer cards specifically. On this episode, we've got a conversation coming up with Austin from US Soccer Breaks. However, let me introduce my co-host, creative director at Futera, Mark Watson. Hello.
Bonjour, Adam Partington. See, I've changed it to a topical greeting there, and we'll obviously say why it's a topical greeting in a bit. But that's wasn't that clever?
It was clever.
It wasn't bad.
You thought on your feet.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. So I'm guessing because I was away for one of the episodes that you've been inundated with emails from people all around the world, just basically saying, "Where's Mark? Like, we miss Mark."
No. Wait. I've not had anybody ask for you specifically, but I have had emails, tweets, Instagram messages of people saying, "Where's the latest episode?" You know, we had. I had one guy, I can't quite remember his name, forgive me if you're listening, but he said that he worked in a lab and he listened whilst he worked in the lab and he was wondering where the latest podcasts were. I think we had a little issue with Spotify where Spotify wasn't pulling most recent episodes in. I fixed that now. He was saying, where's the latest episode? What's going on? So we are back now. We've had a busy couple of weeks.
I think he probably meant me. Have we had anybody write in or comment about the fact that Jesse Lingard is the new Lionel Messi? Have we had that at all?
No.
Unbelievable.
Do you really think that Jesse Lingard can maintain this rich vein of form that he's in?
I don't know, but he looks brilliant. Like, he's that player that I couldn't have cared less about a month ago. Like, I look at him and I just like the way that he played. It just wasn't something that attracted me to sort of his style of play. And I've got this feeling that you don't really appreciate him until he plays for your team, because he's coming to West Ham and wow, he's on a different planet at the moment to everybody else. He certainly looks a bit of a world beater. I read somebody the other day say that he was like he reminded him of Paolo Di Canio, and I can sort of see that. Like, Di Canio came to us. Yeah, Di Canio came to us when sort of he was at his lowest ebb. And he came to us and was obviously one of the greatest players ever to play for West Ham. We don't want to carry on talking about West Ham every single week, but Lingard looks the same. So I don't know how to do the finger thing or whatever it is, but J Lings. Oh, you know it.
Those of you watching.
Is it that? I don't know what it is. I don't think it's that.
Is it off of Black Panther? He does something. I think it's like a Black Panther.
I think it's like a J and an L. I don't know.
Is it? Oh, yeah, sorry.
I think so.
We've got a friend now who's quite influential at West Ham. Mr. Jackmate, who we've been speaking to. So maybe we can ask Jackmate to ask Jesse Lingard like what this is all about.
I think that's quite topical because from what I remember, I think he tweeted the other day saying that he'd get a Jesse Lingard tattoo if Jesse Lingard signed permanently at the end of the season, and asked where he could get that tattoo done. And Jesse Lingard replied and said that he got his done in Manchester, showing a picture of it. So I still don't know what the sign is, but that's quite clever. Anyway, Ads, other than that, what's been happening in the world of soccer cards, football cards?
Well, there's a lot of hype at the moment around vintage, but more specifically with regards to the Futera planet, we have since the last time we spoke, Mark, we have launched a new product, Futera UNIQUE-LIV, which has gone quite well. We all agree on that. The buzz from collectors has been brilliant, and some of our cards have flown out, which is great for us as a publisher. And on the whole, I think the response has been good. I mean, of course, there's always it's a preference thing sometimes, isn't it? Trading cards are like music in that way. Certain people will like different designs or whatever, but on the whole, I think the feedback we've had has been good, and we've seen we've attracted some new people to the brand. So we're very privileged to have them on board, aren't we?
It's changed my diary a little bit, Ads. I actually really get excited every Wednesday. Like it's sort of like it's always like an activity every week now, getting ready for the launch, and let's call it a drop. It sounds much cooler. Getting ready for a drop and putting these cards out. It's gone really well, really well. Sometimes you launch a product and you don't know how it's going to be. It's something a bit new, and I'm a bit overwhelmed with just the positivity around it. It's obviously done really well. Major cards going out there, and there's a lot of excitement obviously around sort of the Mbappe cards. Let's not skim over the fact that we must have had a crystal ball, because Xavi Simon's rookie card coming out on the day that he made his debut. I'd like somebody across the whole world of sport, I'm not going to blow our own trumpet here, but I'd like somebody to tell us in the comments underneath, in the whole history of trading cards, has anyone ever brought out a rookie card on the day that the guy makes his debut? Because I couldn't think of anything. I'm talking baseball, etc. I'm sure it has, and I'm sure we're going a little bit overboard on this complete and utter fluke. I heard that you spoke to Pochettino and asked him to play him, but not sure if that was totally true, but we'll go with it anyway. It was a nice coincidence to happen. That's the most exciting rookie that I was sort of looking forward to, was Xavi Simons, and for him to make his debut on the same day is really, really cool. It's been a really good launch, and I'm just really excited about what happens sort of going into the future with it. And there's so many sort of twists and turns of what we're going to do, and different types of cards that come out that you certainly haven't seen everything yet, which is really cool. And Paris Saint-Germain and Marseille, that's pretty exciting as well, isn't it? That was that came from nowhere. So well, it didn't for us, obviously. We've been working on it for a long time, but the announcement came from nowhere, which was quite cool. We kept that one under our hats for a bit, but certainly two of the coolest brands in football for me. I grew up, one of the first European Cups I can ever remember was 1990, I think, Marseille versus Red Star Belgrade, and Marseille were just laden with superstars in that side. I was a big Chris Waddle fan for some reason as well as a kid. And so like Chris Waddle played for Marseille. I love the brand of Marseille. And if you look at their social media and stuff, it's just cool. Like really, really cool. What you'd expect from sort of like a French brand. It's just really, really well done. And Paris Saint-Germain, that's like the classic modern day football club, and like just laden with superstars and the biggest names in the game. And also you always know that every year there's going to be someone else signing. There's always going to, like, the big stars, the Messis or Ronaldos are always in their hat to join Paris Saint-Germain. And whenever there's a big young star come through, then Paris Saint-Germain's the first name that's mentioned. So for us to have them, just like, that's a dream come true. That's a really great license to have as a trading card company. And we're just so excited to see where it goes from now, and the sort of really exciting stuff that we can do with it. But yeah, overall, Eds, as creative director, very, very happy for the last few weeks. And thank you so much to the collectors who have not just gone on and bought the cards, but also have given us great feedback and constructive criticism. There's been criticism, and I don't mind that either. I'm human. If I don't like something that somebody does, I say it. I'm sure we all do it this modern age where it's easy to tweet, etc. So criticism, creative, constructive criticism, praise, whatever people have sent through, I'm just really happy with it. And yeah, thank you so much for everybody that's sort of got involved in that. And it's really exciting, and it's really enjoyable reading Twitter at the moment. You're doing a great job, by the way, Ads, as well. It's fun to read at the moment.
I think the greatest thing I've ever tweeted from the Futera account was actually a poll yesterday where I asked people what they were having from the as a takeaway on Friday night. I think at the time, the last time I looked, I think the people were saying they were going to have a chippy. Anyway, that was it.
Can you explain what a chippy is to anybody that's not English? Because that might be a bit confusing.
There was no questions. What is a chippy underneath it? So I think maybe people either googled it or just kind of knew. But yes, a chippy is going to the chip shop. There will be some. There is an element to our Twitter account where it is, because it's me. It will be naturally kind of rather British. So if you're not native to these lands and you're kind of like, what on earth are they talking about on there, just message me and I'll explain it. But no, the feedback's been great. I think as the marketing guy as well, for me to see new people, I've seen people saying, well, we know as well, we've seen new names coming through on our side, people who've purchased who haven't purchased from us before, and seeing that is great for me. People saying, I brought my first Futera cards today, and that's obviously what we're in it for. So and everybody seems to be really excited. So at the time of recording this, week 1 and 2 are on their way out now, which is great. Hopefully they'll be in the hands of collectors quite soon. As you said, we've got more to come. We're going to keep on developing this. We're going to listen to the feedback that we get. As I stress frequently on this show, everybody has their own opinion. Of course, there's not the collectors can't see what has to go on behind the scenes. So, something might seem extremely obvious to them that we need to do, but we might not be able to do it because of licensing restrictions or whatever it might be. But on the whole, we're taking it on board. We had some feedback, didn't we? I think after the second week on the usability of the website, we've tried to changes there. I'm very conscious of this, so we'll continue to keep working. So for those of you who, sorry, Mark, just quickly, for those of you who are listening and you don't know what we're talking about, Futera UNIQUE-LIV is our new product that we release every Wednesday at 1 p.m. on the website. So go and check out some of our new cards.
It's just a bit on that as well. I know there's some stuff in the second week about the website, and I just want to assure everybody that as we get this feedback, we're sitting down and we're making changes as we go. The changes that we can make, we're making. When we get feedback about questions about how the website works, our website's managed by like a huge website sort of company, if you like. And so we're in contact with them all the time, asking them certain things about the technicalities of it. Can we change this? Can we do this? In line with what people are saying. We want this experience to be exactly as everybody wants it. And obviously there's limitations to that. There's only certain things we can do. But as soon as we see stuff that people say that makes sense and is something that we can easily put in place or it can take a little bit of time, then we're sitting down and actually doing that. And as you said, after week 2, I think there's quite a bit of feedback that we took on board, and we made quite a few changes to try and get the usability a little bit sort of easier. We're every week is a bit of a learning curve on this and trying to make sure that we can get this as perfect as possible. So it's really important to us. And anybody out there who's given us feedback, don't think that don't give us the feedback because you think you're complaining, etc. We don't see it that way. We absolutely see it as the most important part of this, because whatever you guys think is what we need to change. And that's in reason, obviously, as Adam said, there's some business parts of that you can't do, etc. But whatever we can, we're going to try and do to make the user experience as good as possible. So it's really important.
Right. And my door's open directly as well. So my email address is adam@futera.com. People can come directly to me. I emailed a couple of customers yesterday that purchased our season tickets to have a quick chat with them. And this is what we're all about here at Futera. I keep on banging this drum, and we genuinely mean it. We know that kind of like the collectors are integral to what we do, and we can only really progress if we speak to them directly. So my door's always open. So yes, that's Futera UNIQUE-LIV. It's available every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Mark, in this, my cat makes an appearance in this podcast.
Nice. Always excited when your cat makes an appearance in a podcast.
Luther, we made a little joke. So Luther is my cat, and it was actually as Austin and I were discussing. So this interview was recorded a couple of weeks ago. I think we'd announced Marseille, but we hadn't actually launched the cards yet, if I remember correctly. It's been a while. So it's been a good couple of weeks for us. We've been very busy. So and Luther kind of chimed in as we were talking about Marseille. So I think I said that he's got a French name, hasn't he, Luther? That's a very French name. So I think I allocated my cat as a Frenchman. But yeah, the podcast
Was
is
he named
great.
after
Austin
Luther?
really knows.
Named after Luther Blissett?
No,
Not
he could have
Luther.
been. He could have. I
Should
just
have
like the
been.
name Luther. To be honest,
Should have been Luther Blissett. Carry on, Eds. Carry on.
should have been Luther.
Sorry
Blessed.
about that little interlude. Yeah.
Sorry for the cat talk, everybody. There'll be more of it to come in this conversation with Austin. But Austin is an American. He's the first American guest we've had on the show. And Mark, he absolutely adores football, soccer. He loves it. He knows it really well. He loves soccer cards. He loves the game, and he's also a big fan of Futera. So that was nice, and he had some very nice things to say about what we do. So I know that a lot of you are a bit excited about this one because Austin has a very good reputation within the industry. So without any further ado, we will now play the conversation with Austin. Enjoy.
Perfect. Looking forward to it.
Hello there. Welcome back to Soccer Cards and Chill. As I said at the top of the show, this is a podcast for you if you love the beautiful game and the hobby of soccer cards. My esteemed guest today is Mr. Austin from US Soccer Breaks. Austin, welcome.
How you doing?
I'm very well. I'm very well. Congratulations on being the first American to appear on Soccer Cards and Chill. How do you feel?
Hey, it's an honor, man. It's an absolute pleasure. I appreciate that. Really do.
Good. No. The pleasure is all mine. It's always great, as I frequently say on this show, to speak to collectors, and the fact that you're the first American guy that I've spoken to that's involved in the hobby is great. So the questions that I've got for you are probably slightly different than what I've had for some of the other guys, given the fact that you're in a different realm to us. So first of all, I think always the best place to start, Austin, is for you to tell us kind of what is US Soccer Break. Break it down for us.
Well, basically, we're just a community where we provide soccer breaks for customers and breakers across the world, and we basically product is insanely priced now. It comes out at such an astronomical rate. Basically, we allow it and provide it to where we break down the team at a fraction of the cost to where they can buy their team. And it's just a great community where all the soccer card collectors come together and have been for numerous years. It's just a great community, but primarily we do the breaks, the soccer breaks. But it's just a great community with soccer cards, pretty much. But primarily it's the breaks. So.
You mentioned there, you've been involved in the hobby for a couple of years. Now that's a bit of a novelty because a lot of the guys that I'm speaking to on this show are actually relatively new. They've got involved during the most recent boom and then have got the boom, and now they're fully submerged in it. So you're saying you're a bit of a veteran then. How long have you been collecting cards for?
I've been about 5-6 years. I did when I was little. My mom used to take me into the hobby shop. And I just loved it. Always had a passion for it. I had a little short break there for a while, but then I got back into it, about 5-6 years ago when I discovered soccer cards. So, I've been in it for about 5-6 years. Yeah.
Oh right, okay. So it was something that you kind of did when you were younger, though. That's where. What did you start with? Did you start with like sport orientated trading cards, or was it always like your American sports, baseball, basketball?
Yeah, pretty much like basketball. I was a real big basketball guy. And then like I said, I had that break, and then when I really got, and to be honest, where I kind of got my passion for soccer was FIFA, the video game, and that's when I kind of got back into soccer cards, and the owner got baseball cards, Joe Davis. He was telling me, they make soccer cards and stuff too, because I was buying at the time. I was buying some hockey. There was some hot rookies out that I was trying to flip and make some easy money. And he was like, hey, they make soccer cards. I was like, oh, really? And then, ever since I found out they made soccer cards, I've kind of just been hitting soccer cards really hard. It's fun. I have a deep passion for it. I have a deep passion for soccer. So. It's my favorite sport. So,
is it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely. That's nice. That's
nice.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because I always think you guys are quite spoilt for choice out there, aren't you? You've got baseball, you've got basketball, you've got hockey, and others as well. So, who's your team then?
I like Barcelona.
Barcelona.
Yeah, I love Barcelona. and I do keep up with MLS a little bit, but not like you would think. I'm more up to speed on the La Liga. I follow that league primarily than any other league. So, because of Messi, Barcelona. I also like Ansu Fati. He's up and coming. So.
Yeah. How big then would you say is soccer in the US, Austin?
I think it's vastly growing. Day by day. It's still one of those sports that it's shunned a little bit. But at the same time, I think it's growing vastly. Day by day it gets more popular. And I think you're just going to see that continue as we come up to the World Cup, especially in 2026.
Yeah, that's we've spoken about that on this show. That could be a big moment for the hobby.
Oh yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
sure
I think it will be.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll come on to that in the show. Just on the whole kind of US soccer fan thing. There's obviously been a lot of guys from the United States now that I think everybody accepts, that's the birthplace of the hobby. You go back hundreds of years, and there's references to baseball cards appearing in the cigarette packets, and all sorts historical kind of references to collecting cards in the US. It is really the place where the hobby came from. But now, more recently, you've had a lot of collectors in the US start to turn their attention to soccer. And what would you say? Would you agree with some of the criticisms that I've had on this show, or some of the things that have been mentioned to me on this show? And that some of the guys over here kind of feel like some of the guys that are coming in to the hobby from the US that maybe aren't historically haven't taken as much of interest in soccer. Not like yourself, you said you've been a soccer fan. It's your favorite sport. It's your thing. But some other guys that are kind of like now kind of taking what they know about baseball cards and applying it to soccer cards and some of the advice they're giving online. Have you noticed that some of this is it maybe the best advice to be given out? Is this something that you've picked up on?
You're just talking in terms of like the similarities in relation to the American sports.
I think
in terms
so.
Of the hobby.
So there's been people that have maybe not been into football soccer for that long.
Yeah,
and then
you're saying they're primarily entering because of the boom.
No, because there's been not really, because there's been I've seen, and I've had people say it to me on this show about this whole thing of like, okay, guys that aren't that familiar with soccer have started to collect soccer cards. They've got these big profiles historically from basketball and baseball cards, and then they're advising people on, say, certain cards to look for.
Yeah,
the advice isn't great because they're new to the sport. Have you noticed this, and is that something that grates on you because you know your football, you know your soccer, and you see these guys giving advice and you don't think something's great? Have you picked up on this, or is this just something you kind of?
And I'll be honest with you, Adam. I kind of stick to my own world, I guess you could say. And I don't really pay too much attention to the noise. I think what they're doing is you have experts in the other sports, which is basketball, football, hockey, what have you. And they're applying those same standards and methods that they use in those categories to soccer now. And I think there is a big disconnect there. There really is in terms of just understanding I guess to what works and what doesn't. And I think they're trying to use those same types of methods with soccer cards. I really think that's all it is. Now in terms of guys specifically, like I don't know. I haven't really seen much of that, to be honest with you. Because like I said, I kind of stick to my own world in my own lane. I have a lot of experience selling soccer cards, specifically modern. I got a lot of experience when it comes to that. So, it's just, I don't know. I really haven't. I don't know. I don't know.
Given that you mentioned that experience, one thing I'm intrigued about those, you're kind of talking about the overlap there between the different sports, collecting cards from different sports. What similarities does soccer cards have to the other sports, in your opinion? And then where are those differences as well?
I think it has a lot in common in terms of just the hobby in general. I think the biggest difference is like you said, is the lack of knowledge. With soccer, because there is a lack of knowledge. It'd be like, like the UK or, the European guys getting into football, trying to educate people on American football. So I can definitely see the commotion there or what have you, that they don't like it or whatnot. But I think, there's tons of similarities in terms of the products. I think soccer specifically, even though it's been here for a couple of years, you had your first Panini America product in 2014 with World Cup Prism. I still think it's in its infancy. I think it's got so much room to grow. I think a lot of these earlier sets you're going to see kind of relate to like the basketball hobby. With your early Upper Deck Exquisite sets, Ultimate Collection sets, just stuff like that. So I think it has a lot of similarities, and I think it's still in its infancy. I think it's gonna explode, to be honest with you, and I think it has. I think year by year, I think it just continues to compound and just get more and more.
Mm. So, do you think the explosion has happened, or do you still think there's more kind of?
I think there's more opportunity. Yeah, I really do, especially with vintage. I think vintage is like an unknown, especially with soccer. It's definitely an area that I would love to see, an expert or somebody, step up and really create some content around, because it's something that I would love to learn too. In terms of vintage soccer. And I think you're going to see a lot of attention towards that, in the future.
Yeah, the vintage thing. Vince from Card Hour was the last episode that we published. I don't know if you're aware of
yeah, it was a good one. Yeah, I was.
Yeah, he's a great guy as well, and he was talking about his kind of love for vintage and actually going back and looking at the World War II era. I think on the whole American thing, like I don't personally sense that like British collectors or European collectors won't listen to Americans talking about the sport per se. I think that's probably that maybe that aloofness and or whatever that maybe Europeans had at one point to Americans talking about soccer. I don't think that exists too much anymore, because we know how popular the sport is out there. I mean, on a personal level, I've got friends that are your fellow countrymen, and they they're big Evertonians, and I talk to them about Everton, and they know just as much as me. They watch the games. I've just found it interesting. It's something that I've observed as well on this podcast, how people are maybe just trying to, or certain people are just venturing into soccer cards with not as much knowledge of the game, and then talking about them in the same way as the maybe basketball and stuff. And I think I want to ask you, I really want to pick up on this point with you, and that's the whole kind of like rookie system. And the young players coming through in soccer is so different, because players can come out of nowhere. Whereas in basketball, I believe it is slightly different, because you've got the whole kind of draft thing, right? Yeah,
it's more developed. You have more of a structure. You have more of a system that brings them along to that professional level. Which I think too you have in soccer. It's just not as evident.
No. And players can literally come out of anywhere and from anywhere as well, because it's so global. Like, it's very hard to know who the best players at the moment in all the best young players in Colombia are, let's say, and then also know all the best young players in France. You know what I mean? It's just so vast.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree. I totally agree. And I think it's soccer cards, in my opinion, in terms of the hobby, it's the best. I put it over basketball, football, and hockey, any of those, baseball, any of those sports. So
why is that? Is that just because you've got a love
it's because of the community. I've had my experience with the community. I've created thousands of relationships across the world. It's just been a great experience for me. I have noticed, in the soccer community, it's just a different breed. There's more trust within the community. It's a tighter, close-knit community, as opposed to like the basketball or the baseball or the football. I see and hear horror stories, from other sports, just bad deals gone wrong and just horrible experiences. So, I'm really proud of, the soccer community and what it's become. And I'm super excited for the future of it.
Long may that continue. I think that's going to be a challenge for us as a collective. Is as anything, the bigger it gets, the harder it is to kind of keep it together.
Yeah.
You've got the bigger something is, the more community, the less of a community feel there is potentially. So that's certainly going to be a big.
And you still, and you continue, and you're starting to feel that. I mean, because it's starting to really grow. I mean, you got the Twitch streamers that are really getting into to soccer cards, the FIFA Twitch streamers, Castro, Casemiro. You got those guys that are coming into the hobby. They brought a ton of just new people into the hobby. I mean, it's crazy how it's grown just in the last few months. So it's been quite incredible, to be honest with you, to watch it grow, especially from 5-6 years ago. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I mean, I was involved with Futera over a decade ago, and it's chalk and cheese now. It's completely different. The market it's developed so much, and I need to do not let me forget to get some of those names off you for the guys that are involved on the Twitch side as well, because I'd like to maybe speak to them if they are interested in soccer cards, and maybe get a couple of them on the show as well.
Yeah, man, you definitely should, for sure. That'd be a great idea.
Yeah, no, I most definitely will. How do you explain when you meet people who are mere mortals, Austin, and who don't have an interest in like collecting cards, sports cards? How do you explain this hobby to them? What kind of things do you say when you're talking to them about one of your big passions?
I mean, again, the community and the relationships, for me, and just in building that, and I have a deep passion for it. I love breaking. I love jumping into breaks. I love that thrill. So it's kind of got that gambling aspect to it for some of the, for the gambling culture. But, I mean, for me, that's it. I mean, there's nothing better. And it is kind of like its own little world. I think most people, and especially even when I try to explain it to people, they can't really wrap their head around it until they really get in it. But for the most part, people who get that bug and get that spark, or open that one box that they just tried, and they get that old nostalgia back from their childhood or whatever. I've seen it really hook people, and light a passion. It gives them something to look forward to. It gives them something to talk about with fellow friends. And I think it's great. I think more and more people are going to get into it. The more and more I talk to people about, what I do and soccer cards and just the hobby, sports cards in general, majority of the people I speak with are just fascinated with it, and they're just, they just can't. A lot of them, like I said, it's hard for them to wrap their head around, because it's a big animal and it takes a lot to learn, in the community and the sports card world. It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, I think there's something innate though within it, especially for it's probably more pronounced in men, but like we have, a lot of us have this whole kind of thing from our childhood where we've collected something in some form.
Yeah.
In the UK, it was always stickers. I don't mind saying this, obviously my allegiances now are to Futera, but as a youngster, I'd collect the old Merlin stickers in the mid 90s. I believe were a Panini brand or are some maybe brought by Panini in the end. I don't know. So I've had that experience, and then the Pokemon cards as well. Some of you who are watching this, by the way, who can actually see us and not listen to the podcast, my cat's joined us. Luther. He's terribly excited about Futera's latest launch, Austin. Yeah, I had to calm him down yesterday when we announced Marseille. He's a big Marseille fan, so I always think if cats had a nationality, they would be French. So there you go. He's a big Marseille fan, but yeah. So on American players at the moment, because I feel like there is, that excitement in the US. And this is something, by the way, that we've heard for so long in Europe and the UK, like, the Americans are getting into the sport. I've heard it my whole life. Americans are getting more and more interested in soccer. It always become a meme. But I suppose there's a lot of America to get interested. So that process is going to take time. But we've got a couple of players now in Europe, American and Canadian players that are kind of tearing things up. Which ones are you excited about? Do you have any that you're really thinking, I'm looking forward to seeing how these players' careers develop?
Yeah, I really am. I mean, to be honest with you, I am looking forward to USA's. As much as I don't follow as much as you probably think I would.
Right.
But I do feel like they have a very bright future. I'm eager to see when all those guys get together. Pulisic, Reina. You got Sargent, McKinney.
McKinney's an interesting one. I'm quite intrigued by Pulisic. Obviously, I see a lot with Chelsea, but McKinney's an interesting one.
Yeah, he is. And then, and he's referenced Canada. You got Davies coming out of there. I think only got some other guys too, I think. But yeah, I mean, those guys, I'm very interested to see them, see what they can do in the future, what kind of chemistry that they can come up with, how they play on the pitch, in sync and what they can do. I think they have a lot of opportunity, especially in the future, especially when the World Cup comes to North America, So
how do you feel about the World Cup? Because I've had it said to me, Austin, that the World Cup could be a really big tipping point in with regards to the hobby. I think.
In terms of just like a spike or
Well, yes. There's a couple of different theories. One of them, that could be where the market really tops out. If you're looking at this from an investing perspective, where interest will peak. What are your thoughts on the whole kind of the American?
I think it will. Whenever, like you saw it last year around the same time as they inched towards the Champions League final, everything would skyrocket. Then it came back down a little bit. And now you see it get back towards the Champions League final, and it's starting to tick back up. And then after that, I anticipate, you'll see that same dip. I mean, the market is completely volatile. I mean, it's up and down constantly. And I think it's just something that, that you're going to have to deal with. But, it's, I think overall, it's good.
Yeah, I am intrigued because it's such a big thing, the World Cup.
Yeah, and as it gets closer, you're going to have all these new guys. Like 2014 was the first Prism year. It was the first soccer product that any America ever made. So, when you came to 2018, you had all these other guys. First Prism, first Prism is a big deal, here, especially in America, especially with the other sports, because it's such a popular set. So I foresee once it gets closer and closer, especially with those guys that didn't have a Prism card, those are going to be extremely hot. I expect those to, really go up in value, especially around that time, especially around release. Because even around release, you see that. I mean, there's always that spike, then it dips a little bit, then product starts to get scarcer, and then you get the PSA stuff that starts to get graded coming and hitting the market, and then it starts to tick back up. That's typically the trend that I've noticed from my experience. But I think it's just going to get even popular as we get closer. Same thing it did with 2018. I mean, that product was crazy. I mean, we did 109 cases, I think. I think Cyrus did, almost 300, something maybe more than that, 400. But yeah, you'll see an uptick for sure. I think it'll be booming. I think.
And talking of booming, this current boom that we're going through, as you've been around the block a little bit in the industry, how does this boom actually compare to previous booms that you've seen within the hobby?
Again, I think it's a normal trend. I think it's a trend that happens every year. I think you just got to know, how to ride the wave and, be in tune with it. It's definitely something you got to be in tune with and watch. I watch stuff daily, trends daily, in terms of just more modern soccer cards. But it's something you just got to really watch closely. It's unique for sure. That's for sure.
And on the coronavirus, because when I first came in to work for Futera, I had this misconception. Now I believe I've identified it as, but I kind of thought, oh, the coronavirus has kind of really been central to the boom, because there's almost this meme going around that like people are at home a lot, so they're collecting more, and that was probably maybe true at the start of the pandemic. I mean, it depends where you live, obviously, where you are. Which state are you in? I haven't asked, by the way.
I'm in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, I mean, I don't know. How are you locked down there?
I mean, yeah, I mean, you got regulations and stuff in terms of going places and stuff, but no, I mean, we're not locked down.
That sounds nice.
No,
I'm in Britain.
I mean, you have to wear a mask. Well,
Yeah.
out of respect, most people do.
Yeah.
Wherever you go, and as long as you do that, I mean, people don't really bother you.
Okay.
But I mean, for the most part, it's not as locked down as what I'm hearing in some other parts.
No. So what then? What impact do you think this whole pandemic has had on the hobby, and has it been, in your opinion, a contributing factor to the boom, or would it have happened anyway?
I think it would have. Honestly, I think it would have happened anyway. I think the pandemic just magnified it. To be honest with you, kind of like you just referenced. People were at home. They can't do anything. They're stuck in front of the TV or social media or YouTube, what have you. And they're looking for entertainment. They're looking for community. They're looking for just networking. And that's a very easy way to get it. When everything is done through social, and you're always interacting. I mean, you go on a live breaker feed, you're typically going to find 30, 40 people that are in there just hanging out. So I think it really, I think it just magnified it even more than it would have already been, because I think it would have happened anyway. But I do think it magnified it a little bit. So.
And this year then, 2021, what have you? I'm going to do that really annoying thing now, put you on the spot and ask you to make a prediction kind of thing. So what do you anticipate? What do you foresee this year for the hobby?
Honestly, I mean, I think it's going to see a lot more growth. I mentioned the Twitch FIFA streamers that are really getting into the soccer cards. I don't know if you know, but these guys have, one of them has 2.8 million followers.
Right, we've definitely got to get these guys on the show, Austin. You've got to ring me up, mate.
So every time, he's opening soccer cards or something, he's got 20, 30, 40,000 people watching. And I'm gonna be honest, huge shout out to Castro and Casemiro, because they have single-handedly helped the soccer card market. And I can't thank them enough. I've seen results directly from them. I've gotten hundreds of new customers. So that's kind of why it's very fascinating, and you have these two worlds colliding now, and I think it's just gonna increase even more. It's just gonna domino, and you're gonna see more and more people coming into the hobby. And it's been incredible, and I'm blessed to be a part of it. And I hope I think 2021 is going to be just as good. Allocations are getting tough on product in terms for the breaks, but as we know, they're going to be creating more product. So and to be honest, I'm super stoked. I'm always excited when Futera comes out too, because Futera is I consider it more of a high-end product, and people love it, and I can't wait to get some more for the breaks so that we can give it to the customers, because they love it.
Oh, well, that's great to hear, and very, very nice of you to say that. I think we're all excited just on the whole kind of allocation thing and producing more to meet the market needs. This is a debate that I've had again on other places at this podcast and other ones that I've done. And kind of like for us at Futera, it's trying to wrestle with that a little bit. We want to maintain that our cards are the value, and give that value to customers. They know they've got a limited edition card. That's how we position ourselves. But we also realize that the market has grown now so much more that we need to kind of think about that as well. So it's continuously, that's a bit of a battle for us. On the cards that you have. I know you've already spoken about the other brands, so not so much brand specific, whether or not they're Futera, Panini, or Topps. But what kind of cards do you tend to gravitate towards, Austin? If tomorrow you kind of there was only going to be one type of card produced, whether it be an autograph, a memo card, a rookie, whatever, moving forward, and that was the law, and that was the only type of cards that trading card companies could produce. Have you got a preference for one?
I'm a high end guy. I love high end. I love on card. That's kind of the stuff that I'm kind of looking for and gravitating for right now. Again, I'm not an expert in vintage. And I want to be. I want to get to know that a little bit more. But I love the high end. My favorite set, is Prism. I may get a lot of kickback for it, but I've had a great experience with Prism. It's really, helped me. I've made some good choices with Prism, to where it really helped me out, personally and financially, and really helped me, get my sports card career started, to be honest with you. So I like the Prism set. I've always loved the Prism set. Also, it comes out every 4 years. But I love the high end, the Noir, the Flawless, the Eminence, those types of sets, and I love Futera. Futera's, I think the unique thing about Futera is that they have their own style, and they have for a long time. And like I said, I consider Futera a higher end product. So I really love those types of products, especially when you get the on card. The on card autographs are a big deal to me. I'm okay with sticker autographs, especially if it's depending on the product, because some sticker autographs are more significant than others. But yeah, that's kind of what I look for. I'm a huge buy in bulk, send the PSA, grade, and flip it. I do a ton of that. Majority of my time when I'm not breaking, and I'm doing that.
So I was just going to ask you a question then. It just came in my head. What was it again? Right. You mentioned sports card as like a being involved in this hobby as a career. So obviously, it's a job for you. People who are listening to this who might also want to kind of one day make a living from sports cards. You mentioned that you said you were blessed. That was the word that you used for being involved in this industry and being able to do it in the capacity that you do. I feel the same. I'm as a marketeer, I'm very lucky now that I'm marketing a product that I'm passionate about. That's integral, I think, for anybody in the work that they do. So, what would you recommend to anybody that's listening to this, going, Austin's managed to carve a career out here? Like, what I'd like to do that one day. Have you got any advice for those people who might be thinking that?
Yeah, man. Just learn. The biggest part, I think I've said it once or twice already, is just, form those relationships, get into the community, the breaking community, especially, where the sports cards, soccer cards, whatever, your niche is. But just, again, create relationships, do people right, make good deals, and that's really the ultimate way, that I did it. And it takes time. It's not something that you're gonna accomplish overnight. Stick to what you know. Don't try to get involved in players that you're not too familiar with. Players you don't believe in. That kind of thing. And I think you're going to be all right. I think just again, learn as much as possible from the people that have been in it for so long. Use their experiences that they share with you. And that's something that I do a lot within the U.S. soccer breaks community. I'm not an expert. Again, like I said, I'm not an expert on soccer. I'm not an expert on vintage. I would say I'm an expert on modern soccer cards. But again, just stick to your niche. Don't go outside your box. And again, just develop those relationships as much as possible. And just inspire a positive community. And I think, you'll be fine. When you do deals, make sure you ship in a timely fashion. Make sure you communicate, well. And I think you're going to be fine. it's tough too though, because you gotta really know your stuff. You gotta get educated. You gotta educate yourself. A lot of reading, a lot of time, watching YouTube or whatever sports talk shows or whatever it is you need to do to help you gain that knowledge. And again, yeah, I mean, I've been blessed, man, and it's something that I truly love. Yeah, it's like I'm living a dream, man, to be honest with you.
Ah, that's lovely. That's lovely. One takeaway that I think I'd personally take from that, and I'd advise anybody now, not that I can advise anybody on soccer cards yet, other than on Futera products. But if I was talking to somebody who was like, I really want to get into the hobby, I would probably say the same thing in regards to kind of collect what you know. I think that's a really that's like a very, you're a bit of a sage there for dropping that one on us, Austin. I think that actually does. It sounds simple, but that's probably where you should start. If you identify a certain player and you like that player, you like watching him, and you're a big fan, and you think that he has potential if he's currently playing, then and you watch him a lot, then buy him. That's one way.
And to be honest, the first question I get a lot of people that reach out for me that seek advice.
Yeah.
And just so on and so forth. And the first question I ask them, if it's a guy that I don't really know, the first question I ask them is say, well, do you believe in him?
Yeah.
And that really is, like if you do believe in the guy, then then you buy them up as when you can find the deals you can, and hold on to him for that long term. If you really think he's gonna be that guy, obviously you're always gonna have that risk, so. And I follow trends. Trends are big. I search eBay every day, so that's another big thing that I do that helps me a lot. And just trends. Just follow that. Soak up as much knowledge as possible.
What do you think will be the first $1 million soccer card?
I think it's going to be some kind of vintage Pele. Vintage card like that. You've seen those that have already gotten astronomical numbers already. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a Messi PSA 10 or a Ronaldo PSA 10 Mega Crack from their rookie years. 03, 04, and 04, I think. Yeah, 03, 04. What was Ronaldo? 02, 03 or so. Can't remember, but yeah, I mean, it's I think one of those three, Pele. I think the pop count on the Ronaldos and the Messi is very low.
Yeah.
Considering other cards. So I think that's a huge deal, in terms when you're talking, people go to buy it. I saw in a Facebook group the other day, the guy, I think one of the PSA 10s that saw one of the guys financed it. So if you got people financing it, I mean, it's crazy. You got all these new celebrities and stuff coming into the hobby. So it's just, you never know. I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see. I'm eager to see what it's going to be. And my prediction is going to be some kind of Pele, maybe the Pele rookie, because we've already seen it get so high.
Yeah.
But I do anticipate, the higher end, more recent sets, the very first sets, to really gain momentum too in the long term, maybe like 10, 20 years or so.
One of our collectors has got an early Beckham Futera card on eBay for $1 million.
Oh really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah.
Is it autographed?
It's yes, I think it is. No, I think it is. I think it is, and I think it's come with it's got the letter with it from our CEO at the time.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll have to. That'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'll see how that one goes.
I'll have to go find it.
Yeah. So here's the final question, Austin. I like to wrap up with this one. I want to know if you were in my position, you're head of marketing for Futera, what kind of things would you do? Would you implement?
I would I think you're doing a great job, man. And be honest with you, for a little bit, you guys didn't really seem engaged as much as you are now. And I think that's incredible, man. I think, a lot of manufacturers could take some notes from that, to be honest with you. And just inspire the community, get involved as much as possible as you guys have. which I think you guys are already doing that. I think it's great. From a soccer card aspect, I think the biggest complaint from collectors and customers that I get is the patch is matching the team. I think that's the biggest complaint I get for all products, to be honest with you. But honestly, I think Futera I think they do a better job of that, to be honest with you. But that's one of the biggest complaints I always hear about soccer cards in general. But yeah, I mean, I think, again, just get involved, inspire the community, professionally, and just, I mean, I think it's great that you're reaching out to all these soccer collectors across the world and really getting their perspective. I mean, I think it's bringing the community even closer, to be honest with you, and I much appreciate that, and I really admire, what you guys are doing. It's great stuff, man. Really.
Oh, thanks, Austin. I think from me personally, just to kind of not to turn this into some kind of like British American loving, but to hear that from somebody who has been involved in the hobby for so long, that's the kind of feedback I want. I think, I mean, I've said this internally, I said this on this podcast as well. I think the days now of organizations across the board being separate from their customers and being this kind of this kind of faces that, and their days are gone because of the internet. I think the internet smashed down a lot of these barriers, and I feel like if you're in a you're in an industry like ours where people buy our product because they love it, like they're not the other products that I've marketed in the past have been products that people can actually use in a sense of they've been able to do something for them. Well, ours are a little bit more kind of like it's a passion thing. Like people don't buy soccer cards because they have a practical use, is my point. They buy soccer cards because they bloody love them. So I feel like it's so integral for us to kind of, as you said, like we've got to go to town, and we've got to talk to you guys. And one thing I will say on that is you are always I can't please everybody. There are going to be people who have got soccer cards are inherently something as well, because they're almost like an art form. Some people are going to like them. Some people are not going to like them. You guys as collectors maybe aren't exposed to, and why would you be, the intricacies of licensing and things like that, certain things that we can't do. But I think on the whole, as long as if people still say at the end of this, do you know what? I like what Futera do. Even if they say it's not for me, the product's not for me, I prefer other cards, fine. Yeah. But I think we all want them here within the company to be able to say, do you know what? But Futera care about us, and they do talk to us, and they're trying to bring the community together. And of course, and the cards on the table, excuse the pun, I want you to buy our cards. But ultimately, if people are happy with what we're doing, and we are having that impact on the community, then that's brilliant as well.
No, I think you're gaining. I mean, I truly think you're gaining a lot of respect. That's one thing that that people can't stand. Some of the customer service of other manufacturers aren't that great, and I think when you get involved like you guys are, you get, like you said, it gives them a voice, it gives them an outlet. And I know, I mean, just from watching you and past episodes, I mean, I know you're genuine, and I think people see that, and I think ultimately that's what they appreciate the most, and the fact that you were even just making an effort says a lot, and you guys keep it up, man, because that's it really is. I mean, it's a great thing to see Futera engaging. I wish other manufacturers would do that, especially with the soccer community. And I think it's going to give you guys an advantage. If you continue to cultivate that community that you're obviously, I mean, because you are cultivating a new community by engaging with everybody all the time. So I think it's wonderful. I think it's great, and man, I'm excited, to be honest with you. I can't wait for some new Futera, because the customers love it. I mean, to be honest with you, the last year's, I couldn't list it fast enough. I mean, as soon as I listed it, it was sold out, within 10, 15 minutes. So it's everybody loves it, man. Everybody loves Futera. I mean, I love it. I know some people, have said bad things about it, but I mean, for the most part, it's a great product. And like I said, I consider it more of a high-end product, when relative to other products that have been made. So,
well, I can't thank you enough for the nice feedback. It's good to hear, that I'm doing most of the right things, so that's good. I think, we've got a lot of things, that we're excited about here. Austin, we've got we've just announced Marseille, and we've got another big club to hopefully announce very, very soon. So, there's some fun stuff in the pipeline, and I will endeavour for as long as I'm involved, obviously, to try and maintain this relationship with you guys. So, thank you very, very much for coming on the Soccer Cards and Chill podcast, Austin. Before we go, just tell the listeners where they can find you. I should imagine most of them already know who you are, but if they don't, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can just find us on Instagram at US Soccer Breaks. Our website for the breaks is usbreaks.com. Also, be sure to check out gotbaseballcards.com. That's where you're going to find a lot of good deals. We got over 1 million cards listed on gotbaseballcards.com. But if you're looking for the soccer breaks and getting in on the soccer community, go to usbreaks.com. That's where you can grab your teams and stuff. We have links there to the Facebook groups and to the Instagram. But yeah, Instagram again, it's US Soccer Breaks. And also on Facebook, US Soccer Breaks as well. So,
yeah, I must say I watched one of your box breaks from earlier and enjoyed it. It was insightful. I think you gave away a Zlatan.
Cool. Hope I did a good job. Oh yeah, you watched one of the giveaways. Okay.
Yeah, I watched one of the giveaways. I thought this guy's like he's bringing all the boys to the yard with giving away Zlatan. I thought I missed out on that.
Yeah, man, I just want to give value back to the guys that support us. And that's. And when I'm able to give back, it's just cards I have laying around here that I got graded. I just want to give back as much as I can, just to the people that support us.
That's great. That's great. Well, thanks for coming on the show again. I've really enjoyed it.
It was an honor. It was a pleasure. Thanks so much, Adam.